Nike is going to stop selling at one of America's largest shoe retailers. So Nike has just announced that they will stop selling at DSW as it cuts ties with many stores and shifts to selling more of its own products through Nike stores and, of course, their website. So Nike's finance chief, Matthew Friend, said in September that the brand has exited about 50% of its retail partners since 2017, and selling goods on Nike's own website and stores has netted Nike more than double the profit it would have received from selling through wholesale partners. So now, because of this move, rivals like Under Armour and Adidas have been following Nike's lead by also pulling back on their retail partners and focusing more on direct to consumer. So Lana, what are your thoughts on this brand and Nike focusing on direct to consumer?
Yeah, this actually I have two thoughts on this. The first one is we used to do this is interesting. We kind of started to see it happening around the pandemic, it would have been, this says 2017. So, I mean, pandemic was what, 2019,
2020.
So, yeah, it was a little bit after that. But I'd be going to stores and we used to do the whole, like, walk into Burlington, walk into Marshall, see if you can find something, try and flip it online, something like that. But you started to notice, like, all the product was getting pulled. The quality was getting less and less until, like, now you go to almost any Burlington Ross and, like, Marshalls and stuff, and you're going to find no Nike, no Adidas, or at least the most basic models, like the stuff you'll find at Payless.
Yeah, Superstars.
Like super not high quality stuff. And you used to be able to find Kobe's and all different kinds of stuff at these stores. So I thought that was interesting. And this honestly, kind of sucks in this aspect of whenever we were getting into this business, whenever we actually got this little unit that we're in right now, we had aspirations of, like, we're going to open up an account with Adidas and Nike and start selling their shoes. And we were close with Adidas, but just from the way it looks right now, it doesn't seem that it's going to get much easier for you to kind of have your own brand and want to start selling other people's products. Is that the way that it looks to you?
Yeah, so the way I've been kind of, reading the market, reading the room with these retailers, I mean, it makes sense. Like, from their perspective,
it makes so much sense.
Like,
we always wondered, like, why would you send these nice shoes to these? Didn't Nike even start to dabble in their own, like, we're going to start selling our own used sneakers? Like, we're not even just
There was some article about that.
Selling our own used sneakers.
Returns, yeah. So I think initially it was, so if you guys aren't interested or just not informed on how the whole wholesale market works, usually Nike will sell to a wholesale partner shoes at like 50% rate discounted. So if a shoe's retailing for 100, they'll sell it to the wholesaler for 50, and then the wholesaler will then, or retailer will sell it for 100, and so everyone makes their margin. So it just makes sense from a Nike standpoint. Like, why would I sell it for 50 when I have enough people that are going to buy it at 100? I might as well just sell it at 100 and double my profits. So I get that.
All the product in house, but whatever made, like, when did these start happening? When did you decide that you wanted to do this? And then what made you actually realize, like, hey, because Nike's been Nike forever.
Right.
Like, Nike's been Nike for a long time. So I guess I'd be curious, like, when did they decide to start going to outside, like, consumers? And what made them realize, we don't need to do that. Because from the jump, you should have known, like, if we keep our product and sell it for our price, we'll make more than selling it to someone else for half off and letting them sell it.
Well,
you can move it quicker, but you're not going to make more. So did they come up with a way to now move all their product quicker, or are they just now saying, we're good now? It's less of a headache?
It's kind of evolving of how consumers act, because you got to think, like, Nike's been around forever. And so how it originally started is, there was no online shopping. This is back in 2000. Right. So we're about 20 years in. So you got to think, all right, so Nike coming in, the only way to get your brand out was to partner up with all these distributors, all these partner stores, Sears, Kmart, JCPenney, all these big names that's been around for almost 100 years now. And then that's how they started, worked that partnership. But now it's gotten to the point where Nike and all these bigger brands have a name for themselves, and also with online and e-commerce where you can actually just shop directly with them, that it's gotten to the point where, and I'm sure, and their Nike's logistics are great. I mean, we've bought in shoes,
the team is crazy,
and we bought in shoes, and in 4 days we've gotten the shoe, which is it's insane what they've been able to pull off. So I think that's why is they have more control now, and a lot more people are buying through Nike. So, like, you really have to make a difference if you really want to partner with Nike or at least any of these big brands. You really have to kind of prove to yourself now. It's not like Nike doesn't need you guys anymore.
Well, yeah, but do you think that Nike is going to eventually hit a threshold where they're like, okay, we used to have, I'm just gonna just break it down and use it in just like smaller numbers. We used to be partnered with 50 stores, even though it's infinitely more than that. Do you think they're like, okay, now we've cut it down to 25. Once we get it to about 10 or 15, we're gonna stay there? Or do you think they're eventually gonna just try and pull everything to themselves and just run everything from their own like specific? Because I feel like that would be tough. I feel like there's a certain number of like retailers and partners that you're gonna want to keep to just continue to get, because otherwise what you're talking about is having to build more stores because you don't want to.
Right.
I feel like
there is a balance.
We're at the point where it's like, everything is going towards online.
Yeah.
But will we ever really get to a point where there's no such thing as in-store shopping? Because
never.
So it's like those places that you're either going to have to, okay, hey, there's already a Foot Locker and a Dick's here. We keep these partnerships because they have stores built here. We can continue to funnel to this specific area. Otherwise, you're like, hey, pack up the crew. We need to go build a Nike store right next to these places because we're not reaching these areas. We're not reaching certain stuff like that. And that's even really small scale because we're talking about Nike, 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 like legitimately the biggest sports, like the biggest
brand in the world,
specific sports brand in the world. And you can say the same thing with Adidas. You can say the same thing with, like, obviously Jordan's part of Nike, but like these certain, like, top tier brands. It's just, I feel like they're just trying to test out new things, even because what they're doing now, they could probably continue to do and never have a problem.
Yeah. So the way I see it is, I agree with you. I think they're only going to partner with stores where they don't have a location. So like, that's why they're going to continue their partners with, the article says they're going to continue their partnership with Dick's and Foot Locker. So just because I think they have distribution, but other than that, I don't see why they would stop cutting down. Like, because like, for instance, Kith, like, love Kith. I love what they're doing with them. They always do a great job. Like, but I could definitely see Nike stop selling to Kith.
Would you imagine, just for like transitioning it to hype sneakers and stuff, like every single shoe, every Nike shoe from release day is on the sneakers app?
Oh yeah,
every single.
No, that's
shoe.
what they want.
That would be crazy.
That's what they want. 100%.
That would be so crazy. Everyone at one time. That's your only way to get the shoe.
No, I bet you in like 20 years, that's exactly how it's gonna go. Thanks for watching this clip of the Laced Up Show.
To watch the full episode, click here, and to subscribe for more sneaker related content, click here. But until next time, peace.